You were talking about motherhood. You were saying that it was very underappreciated. And it seems as though people were shunning motherhood or not taking it as seriously as they should, thinking, why would you want to just be a mom? You could have a career. You could do this and do that.
Think about that sentence. Just be a mom. Literally creating the future of our species isn't a big deal. Just be a mom. That's how powerful the patriarchy is. The patriarchy is so powerful that they've managed to convince women that they can both be the breadwinner and the mother, and that we just get to stay at home, play Xbox all day. That's impressive. Modern women believe that true freedom is having sex like their brother and working like their father. I'm not convinced that that's true. They're not culpable to their husband in the way that they would have been before. This is something that the manosphere never talks about, and a lot of dating online never talks about. Look at how low the divorce rates were 50 years or 100 years ago. Look at how more effective it was for people to get married and stuff like that. Yeah, but how many women stayed in relationships with men because they were literally financial prisoners? No one really ever talks about that. Women have now been liberated to make that choice, but they've also been encouraged to believe that motherhood makes them a second-class citizen. And I don't think that that's true. There's very few women that I know that have said having a kid was the worst thing that I ever did, or I'm so glad that I worked more and spent less time with my child. Very, very particular woman that says that. Now, maybe you could say, wow, that's because who's going to say that they hate their kid? There's a few people on TikTok that do that. There was that girl with a list. Did you see that? Dude, it's fucking weird. There's literally women taking videos of their newborn child and saying I can't believe that I brought this thing into the world. This girl made an 8-page, 350 item list. She made an 8-page list of all of the different reasons why she didn't want to have a kid, including can't wear cute heels anymore, won't be able to go to brunch with the girls, literally a parasite growing inside of my body. And then the list of reasons to have a kid was half a page long. There's just this very averse to motherhood culture at the moment. Chelsea Connerboy wrote an article for the New York Times, "Maternal instinct is a myth that men created." Okay, is that the same across the entire animal kingdom? What do you mean here? Just how powerful is the patriarchy that we managed to convince women that they want to have kids? How the fuck do you think we got here? How do you think that we managed to survive all this time? It's very strange. It's very strange.
It seems like we're coming back to that. I've noticed a traditional movement that I haven't seen 10 years ago that's coming back to people saying, you know what, I don't want the career. I want to be home. I want to have kids. I want to raise a family. And it seems like now people are really standing up to that and saying, I think that's really noble. I think it's not easy to do. It's very difficult. And the sacrifice that would take, I think is significant.
Well, downstream from anything new, something that's new and novel, people get excited about. Yeah. Oh my God, women have got access to the workforce. And you test it for a good while. And again, we don't always do our own sense making. We have to learn by failing. And you outsource some of that to the rest of the world. That's the Abilene paradox in some regards, right? So lots of women being told this is something, and again, the CEO, boss bitch, lean in sort of girls, maybe it is great for them. Maybe that's the perfect life that they could lead. And if they were a mother, they'd be fucking miserable. Totally fine. But you can't use that and whitewash the entire rest. It would be the same as saying every dad should be a stay-at-home dad. No. Very few people would agree that that's the optimal life setup for every guy. But yet it may be for some. Each different person tries to work out what it is for themselves. I do think that the motherhood thing's swinging back around. But this is still the aftershock, the after effect of the introduction of reliable contraception. Do you know that after the introduction of the pill, single mother pregnancies went up, not down?
And why is that?
Because prior to reliable contraception, an out-of-wedlock birth was seen as the man's mistake. And after reliable contraception, it was seen as the woman's choice. So shotgun weddings went down, single motherhood went up. The number of abortions went up after the introduction of hormonal birth control. Who could have predicted that? I don't think that there's anybody on the planet that would have been able to work out the downstream.
Well, I would say before then, the consequence was so big that if you're going to sleep with somebody, there's a very high likelihood of ending up pregnant. And because of that, you're very careful of who you're with. After that, you don't have to have that same level of care, and accidents happen.
Not only the same level of care, but also the same level of obligation.
Sure.
Do you know why it's called a shotgun wedding?
What? Because the dad sits there as you better get married to my daughter. Yeah.
Door gets kicked down.
Yep.
When's it happening, son?
Yep.
And you go, hey, she could have taken the pill. She's decided to keep this. It made it the woman's choice and not the man's mistake. We're still playing with an awful lot of technology, reproductive technology. What does this mean? Yeah. What does it mean to split off and bifurcate having sex from making babies? And then what does it mean to do it again and split off having sex from being in love, having sex from being married, having sex from having feelings? There's articles in Elle and Cosmopolitan, how to sleep with him and not catch feels. How do I disembody myself from literally one of the most sacred things that I can do with another human? That's what that article could be rewritten as. I think that the trends are moving in the right direction overall. I think that we've got reason for hope, and I don't think that people should be too cynical about the way that the future's going.